Hello. Hello, Facebook. Hello, everyone. It's Michelle Howell from Empath Evolution. I wanted to share a few things with you today. There's always, I love when I can recount with my clients situations that I didn't expect to be in. You know, as smart as what I think I am learning every day. So, when we talk about empath lessons. So I hope you stick around because I've got two really amazing examples. Now, when I go to the grocery store a lot, I guess, these two examples both happen at the grocery store. Now, for empaths, usually going to the grocery store, I hear a lot about, this person stops me, this person stops me, this other person stops me. Everyone's got something to say to me, right? So I was talking to my client today about being open, being closed, and how do you go through life without having people constantly stop you to explain, to share. So I said to her, it's not, some people are like, oh, close, zip up, do this, do that. I'm like, it's just a way of being for me. It's like a vibe I put out there. I don't necessarily invite people in. I'm the one who takes action when I want to talk to somebody. So I guess I must have how do I do that? Well, my intention is when I walk in that place, I've got this to do, this to do, this to do, and this other thing to do. And whatever other people are around me, honestly, I have made it a habit. One of my coping skills, I don't necessarily get too interested in who those people are. I keep it very superficial. I keep myself back and away from them. All right. I can certainly smile at someone if need be, but I go to the grocery store with an agenda. I've got to get this, and this, and then I've got to get home, and then some other things are happening. So I will be nice to people, but it's not a social hour, not in my book. So that's the attitude I kind of go in with. When you are a really open person and you really pay attention to others, all somebody else needs is eye contact. Not even that, sometimes they sense who you are and they share. And then they share some more. And I don't know that it's a bad thing that people share their stuff with you. I think it's great. Only if you find that attractive. Only if that's okay with you, right? So if it's not, you just bring a different vibe to what you're there to do. Period. So you become a little bit more direct. I don't want to say closed, but in some ways I am focused on this or focused on that. I'm not focused on others. Hello, people. Let me know if you're here. If you want to comment, go for it. So I have two great stories for you. And the first one caught me by surprise. So, I go to the grocery store. It's not that I'm antisocial. I'm not that at all. But I make contact with people when I want to talk to them and not before. And I keep my vibe. I make sure my vibe is high because that's where I like to live. That's what the whole self-care piece is. Keep your vibe high. Because when your vibe is high, you're strong enough to deal with whatever you come in touch with or come around. You're not as drained. It doesn't have the same impact. So, I say a lot more about this in the intensive. You can get that on my website at Empath Evolution. There's a lot to the things that I teach, to what this actually is. It's not, oh yeah, just do this and you'll be fine. Oh yeah, just ground every day and you'll be fine. Grounding is a great thing to do. It's often very necessary, but it's the beginning of understanding why you're here and what this is about and what your role is and how you support yourself every day. So let me get to the example. So the first example is me going through a checkout, and I typically check out who the cashier is, to be honest with you, because I'm particular as to who I'm going to hang out with, go through a line with. Don't ask me why. It's my feeling self. And I go where my vibe says, go there, go here. So I went down this path, and the cashier is a woman, a little bit like medium height, petite. She's got rings on all her fingers, and they are crystals, all kinds of crystals on each of the fingers. So I thought that was really cool. I thought she looked really cool. So I go down that line, and I put my stuff on the line, and I look at her and I smile, and I go, "Oh my gosh, I love your rings." Well, that was a learning opportunity for me, because I invited this conversation, right? I started it. So I opened up a communication between us. I became open to her. Immediately, she turned. I came from one great place. She turned and she goes, I'm really can't stand it. People always look at my fingers, and they always tell me, they start talking about me and how I'm pagan. This is my faith. This is what I believe. Little did I know, I had just touched on one of her emotional wounds. I had just triggered her. It came from good, but she reacted. She wasn't really attacking to me, but I felt and sensed what she was going through. And I'm certainly not the kind of person that goes around talking garbage about people's religions and people's beliefs. And as a matter of fact, I love crystals. As a matter of fact, I have some rings that have different crystals on them. I love it, right? I picked her to go down that lane. And I listened to her as she shared with me. And of course, I'm appalled that people in this world could be that rude to another person, that could put them in a box and think that they're lesser than them because of something they're wearing. So that's one example. And what did I learn from that? Inadvertently, even with the best of intention, you could hit upon somebody's wound. And it's not how you meant it to come out. It's not how you said it. It's what happened when they received it. When they received it, depending on how hot of a button it is, it's still going to sting for them. And certainly by the end of the conversation, by the end of our time together, she felt better. But I did not know I was putting myself in that kind of position. And I was a little thrown off by the intensity of the emotion that she had. At the same time, I feel bad for anybody who lets those emotions grow and grow and grow and grow to a point where they're going to just tell someone off, right? They're just going to be upset that you mentioned that. She couldn't see past her pain to recognize that I wasn't one of the people that was giving her that pain. I reminded her of that pain, and I'm actually glad that she spoke out instead of holding it in. She felt comfortable enough speaking out, of course, because I could help her. So maybe that's why I went down that line. I don't know, but I definitely wasn't expecting it, and it definitely taught me that my intention could be pure, your intention could be pure, but the way somebody else reacts, sometimes you just don't know, even when you put your best foot forward. And to be aware of that in a way, because you have to not get slacked this way and that way, especially if you are sensitive to energy. It doesn't mean you don't be friendly, but you be very mindful what you bring up. Mindful. That was me not realizing that something that amazing, that awesome, bringing that up could create there could have been some negative to that in her life. So that's one. Okay, the second one is, again, same grocery store, but I hadn't gone in yet. I was pulling up to park, and as I'm pulling up, I'm feeling good, doing my thing. I see this woman putting groceries in the back seat of her car, and I could tell by the way she was moving and handling herself. I looked directly at her, and I thought, man, that woman is in a lot of pain. She really is in a lot of pain. And I just paused on her for a moment to notice that this was happening, right? I parked next to her. I was doing a couple things, had the music going on. I got myself ready. I'm ready to leave to get out. So I looked to the left, and she's in her car seat, and the window is down. And I get out of the car and I say, hi. And what happens? She looks, she goes, this is her. I know how you looked at me. I know what that looks like. I used to always put my card away, but I can't anymore. I just wanted you to know, young lady, that that's not how I always used to be. And I'm like, as she's talking, I'm like, yeah, here we go. I'm like, okay, relax. She's upset. She's in pain. She wants to tell me off, but I didn't. I actually really softened my way. And as she was talking, I go, you misunderstand. I'm like, I don't care about the cart. I was just noticing that you were in a lot of pain. I softened. I wasn't defensive. I apologized. I let her know that it was all right. Guess what happened? Oh, she goes on. She goes, oh, this is more to learn here. When I was young and I'd see people doing that, I always thought they were so lazy. So lazy. But now I can't. I used to be an ER nurse. And I've got this wrong with me and this wrong with me, and I can't do what I used to do. So because when she was young, and probably still now, she would look upon her not putting the card away as inconsiderate or rude. When she does it, she's looking for other people to judge her the same way she judged others along the way. Very interesting that what she judged is now her. That's the one thing to learn not to do. But her reaction was based not on the energy that I sent to her, but the perception of the energy that I sent to her was her experience. She was responding to how she perceived that behavior. She's not me. She doesn't know how I perceive things. But she assumed she did. So, there's a lot to be said there. And for me, it's like, geez, Michelle, I got in the car later. I'm like, what was the face that you had? Like, what was it that, you better neutralize the looks on your face, because that wasn't at all what you were thinking. But that's how she received it. The great part was the way I conducted myself to shift the situation. And in the end, she asked for a business card, And in the end, she told me her whole life story, right? And guess what? The woman is definitely very empathic, very heart-centered, and in a lot of pain. So when we are in pain, we react more. We react more. Whether it's the lady with the rings that I touched on one of her pains, or this lady who just saw me look at something that she would poo-poo and reacted to that back to her. All right? So this gives you a little bit of insight into how to handle yourself, what to expect, why things happen. It's not really about what I intended to happen. It's about that person's place where they're at. All right? So I hope you learned something. Write in the comments. Let me know what you learned. I love to get feedback. Let me know if you have more questions. I provide this kind of training in private sessions, plus more towards healing, towards releasing emotions that we have suppressed or that are there that really make your life more triggered. Really, as we get older, those triggers come to the surface more. And they're meant to come to the surface because if you don't see them, you will not take care of it. We're not meant to be skewed and charged in negative ways. We're meant to be positively charged, neutrally charged. We're not meant to feel pain and anguish over the past. That is an example of us holding on to things, growing resentful of things, being angry about things. And a lot of the clients that I work with, some of the more resistant ones, resistance is a phase we go through. I don't want to go back there. I don't need to go back there. I just want to move on. I'm like, good luck. Good luck moving on when you're holding on to things that need to be released, because the universe will have it that you will manifest that situation in front of you or that person in front of you that needs to press the buttons, that will press the buttons, that you'll be mad about, that you'll be angry about because they're doing something to you, when all that's happening is you're holding on to something and they are a reminder of that to you. And they were sent to help you see what is there that needs to be released. All right? So, anyway, I hope you learned something, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.